What about transfer portal stuff? There were a couple of names from years gone by that were big names in high school recruiting that are leaving Ole Miss. One that started there, it was a big recruiting win at the time. He is leaving. Another who started elsewhere that Ole Miss missed out on, and then people were excited when he came around the second time, and now he's headed out as well. Aiden Williams and Noreel White.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody should be surprised by the first one. I mean, in 2 years, there's been injuries upon injuries at the wide receiver position at Ole Miss, and still could never really get on the field. And the second one, this is college football today. That's why you shouldn't fall in love with individual high school recruits, is because only about half of them end up playing for your team anyway. And this is that situation kind of bearing itself out, that neither one of them were going to play significant snaps for Ole Miss in 2025. It's really that simple. And I saw somebody call Williams in particular a big loss for Ole Miss, and my follow-up was, why? Why is it a big loss? You're losing 100 yards receiving over 2 years. What did you lose? You lost what you thought was a good prospect at the time that you have recruited and portaled over.
I really hope, for Aiden Williams' sake, he finds a place where he's able to have success.
Oh, he may not have to move too far.
May not.
Might be a few miles down the road.
Yeah. That may be the case. Aiden Williams, Noreel White, naming the transfer portal, leaving Ole Miss. Certainly not surprising with Aiden Williams, and for Noreel White, it just hasn't worked out in college football so far.
My question is, with some of these freshmen that leave places, it's across the board. Did you expect to play as a true freshman for this Ole Miss team at wide receiver? With what they had returning and what they brought in? I mean, so then why now, when they all leave, do you leave, other than it's been clear that you've been recruited over? I don't know. I am surprised sometimes at the decisions some of these guys make. And you see it all across the board of college football. Freshman comes into a place, doesn't play, and they bolt. It's like, well, what did you expect? Did you expect to play a lot as a freshman? Then why did you leave?
Well, but in the case of Aiden Williams, he came back after his freshman year. Like, he came and didn't play his freshman year, but I think he would look at it and be like, why didn't I get a shot this year? Now, I'm sure the coaching staff has reasons, but especially with the injuries that Trey Harris had, it's like, did you want to see him in a game situation? Like, if he isn't elite in practice, is it worth running a guy out there just to see if he's one of those guys that is different under the lights? I don't know. But obviously they didn't, and you certainly can't fault Aiden Williams for saying, hey, I want to go somewhere where I got a shot to play. And, hey, Dad, do you think that place is going to be Mississippi State?
I'm not saying I think it will be, but I think it can be. I think there's some mutual interest there. I would expect him to visit at some point, maybe this week, and see if that's going to be a good fit for him. State certainly needs receivers. They don't have any proven pass catchers on the roster at this point, and the talent was never really the question with Williams. So, if he can get here and find it feels comfortable, I think Mississippi State would like to have him on the roster.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Opportunity. It seems like right now there would be a better opportunity to get on the field there, which is why you use the transfer portal.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, you might look at Ole Miss's wide receiver situation and go, okay, his opportunity to get on the field is directly in front of him, right? I mean, you got Caden Lee returning. You got some young players that are coming in that are expected to be good, coming out of the high school ranks.
But they add, where I think.
But he was expected to be good coming in out of the high school ranks, and he knows that that's a hard transition. Has he gotten to the point where he is ready to take that next step forward, or is he just so frustrated and doesn't feel like he's going to get the shake that he wants to get, and so he needs a fresh start?
Especially when Ole Miss adds 3 portal receivers, 2 of which play on the outside. Sometimes 1 + 1 = 2.
Yeah,
we talk all the time about how.
And maybe this decision was made a long time ago.
Could have been. Didn't take a snap in the bowl game. That probably told you that this was coming either way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fascinating because there's kind of a false narrative about how Ole Miss doesn't play any wide receivers. They had 4 receivers over 500 yards this year. Nobody remaining in the college football playoff has 4. Texas doesn't have 4. They have 2. Ohio State has 3. So nobody in college football has 6 receivers that are getting a bunch of catches, especially when you pair 2 tight ends with 400 yards each receiving. So the opportunities could have been there. For whatever reason, they weren't given. But I just don't understand some of the reaction I saw. It's, oh my gosh, this is so awful. Like, what are they going to do at receiver? They brought in a 5 and a 4-star in the high school class. They returned Caden Lee, and they have 3 portal guys coming in, one of which was a 1,000-yard receiver. What do you expect to be able to keep on your roster when Georgia can't keep depth on their roster? Guys want to play, and talented guys want to play. And if they're not playing, they're going to go find a place to play.
Yeah.
Some people just haven't adapted their minds to today's college football. He is talented enough to help somebody. So he's going to go help somebody.
Sure.
It's just not happening at Ole Miss, and that's okay.
And there's some people on the text line that have said, had issues with the offense, learning the offense. I don't know. I don't know. There will be an opportunity for Aiden Williams, and I can't help but wish him the best. That Mississippi kid has chosen to stay in the state of Mississippi. Hard not to want good for a young man like that.